So good afternoon, Sean. Thank you very much for taking some time out and getting involved in Business Owner Spotlight this week. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do?
Afternoon, Scott. Thanks for the invite. My name's Sean McDermott, and I'm the CEO of LoughTec, and we are a managed security and service provider based in Omagh here in Northern Ireland.
Fantastic. And how long have you been in that role then, Sean?
So I probably had two main roles, or maybe three, because I'm a father of five in my life. So I worked for Foyle Food Group for 17 years. I was a group IT manager there, and I left about 18 years ago and set up LoughTec, and that's what I've been doing since.
So tell me about LoughTec then. Who would be your ideal customer, and what sort of service do you provide? Obviously, it's cybersecurity, but put it in layman's terms for me.
I suppose initially we set up, Scott, as a managed service provider, so we were like the part-time IT manager for a lot of local companies.
Sure.
We probably exhausted that to a certain extent locally, because once you travel beyond 60 miles without a second base, that can become difficult. We got involved in enterprise cybersecurity for a few years, really high-level sort of cybersecurity solutions for very particular challenges. And we've probably went full circle now in that we're doing cybersecurity for companies as small as 5 users, because the demand is there.
Yeah. So would you say that smaller companies need it now more than they did previously? Is that what's right?
Yeah. Absolutely. If you've got a small company and you're making a few pound and you want to protect it, then you need to do something about this, very imminent threat. I suppose I try and simplify this because I'm not sure everybody really understands the level of threat that's out there. But if you're a construction company 25 years ago, you probably didn't take health and safety that seriously. But you sure as hell do today. You don't have a business without it, and cybersecurity is becoming that critical to, or having a stance to how you address cybersecurity in your business is becoming that critical.
Yeah, I mean, my limited knowledge of it, like I would see maybe on Instagram somebody saying like, don't bear heed of any of the messages, our account's been hacked, and I know some clients that would be catastrophic if their Instagram or Facebook account was hacked. Is that the sort of thing you could protect against?
We protect against all sorts of threats. Usually what we're doing for a lot of our customers is basically monitoring their network 24/7, 365. We're threat hunting, and we're looking for a threat actor-like behavior. So maybe using less artificial intelligence and more human intelligence.
Okay. Bucking the trend there then?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, maybe right or wrong.
So that sounds interesting. As you say, it does seem to be something that people are needing more and more now, because it's an imminent threat, as you say. So like what it became to understand is, so when you left your role as the IT manager and set up the company, what was it that made you do? How come you went into business for yourself in the first place?
That's a very difficult question. I probably was at a crossroads in my life. I'd worked, as I say, for Foyle for a long time. They were very good. It was a great place to work. I probably need a fresh challenge. And one of the things I didn't realize about myself at that stage was that I was a risk taker. So when I think back about the plan, it was sort of back of a cigarette box type thing. Yeah. And I had a family and I had a mortgage, etc. So it was a lot more risky than I thought at the time.
Yeah. And what about then? What's been your biggest learning as a business owner? What have you taken away from your journey so far?
I think the biggest learning for me is that you need to sort of get yourself into a mindset of permanent reinvention.
Okay.
So even like in the short description of our business over the 17 years, we've constantly evolved. In this industry in particular, once you understand something, it's usually defunct. It's time to learn something new.
Okay.
So just having constant change and and reviewing where we are and where we want to go and how we want to get there and who we want to go with is probably the biggest learning I would have.
Yeah. So go with, do you mean like in terms of who would be your ideal clients, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Then you're even being quite focused on that.
Yeah. We would think very hard. Like, ideal client. An ideal client for us, like, so we've got customers who've got 5 users, and we've got
Yeah.
customers who've got literally hundreds of thousands. Like, we work with Sage, GlaxoSmithKline. So who do I like to work with? People who see value in us and we see value in them.
Yeah.
Now, I have to sort of say as well, Scott, that has not always been the case, because
Yeah.
at the start of a business, like, I used to say we'd have played the banjo if it had paid the bills.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody's a customer when you start out.
Yeah, yeah.
So what about you? I mean, you talked about yourself there. You're a risk taker. What else have you learned about yourself in the last 17 years, but really since you've been in business for yourself?
I'm probably reasonably resilient.
Okay.
I can be very focused. I can be very sore on myself sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, those are probably the biggest learnings. Yeah.
And that resilience, then, tell me more about
So the job title CEO, it's sort of, I think that equates with when everything's going well, you just hope that it keeps going that way, and when anything goes wrong, it's your fault. It doesn't matter where it's the toilet's blocked, we've run out of toilet roll, or someone's server has failed, or they've had a cyber attack.
So it's not glamorous then, the CEO role.
Absolutely not at all. No. I would be reasonably uncomfortable even with the title.
Yeah.
I like to have people around me here in the team that want to work with me, not for me. And it's the same with our customers. We're looking for people who see value in us, and we see value in them, and that's the same for the team here. Yeah.
Yeah. So it has to be a win-win, or
Yeah.
no deal, basically.
Yeah.
So what about then? In the last 17 years, you've taken this big risk, and it seems like it's going from strength to strength for you. I imagine it hasn't been as linear a journey as that. So if you had to start again, is there anything you would do differently?
Maybe not start.
Yeah.
And I'm only saying that because I now can quantify the risk I took. At the time, I honestly didn't, and I had a lot to lose.
Yeah. So it's really more like, if you'd have known everything, you maybe wouldn't have taken that leap now.
Not everything. If I'd known the risk, if I had a clearer view of the risk that I was taking, I'm very happy what we've done.
Of course.
I'm pretty proud. We've built a multi-million-pound company from scratch.
Sure.
In the sticks, where I live.
Global stage.
Yeah, well, we have done. Yeah, absolutely. But it was, it was. I think so. What have I learned? If you get the people right and you get the processes right,
yeah,
then everything works.
Get the right people in place as early on as you can. Is that what we're saying?
You probably can't get them in place earlier on because you won't be able to afford them. So it's, people move on. What takes you to where you are won't take you to maybe where you want to go, and the same can be said about people.
What would you apportion the success of what you've built to? I mean, is it your mindset, or what? Why? If you just, there's plenty of people set out to do what you do and maybe haven't got where you got. So what would you say has been the main factor in that?
It's wanting to do a really good job, which can get us in a lot of trouble at times because we go beyond the pale. In terms of trying to deliver, we have a lot of focus here on customer service and feedback from our clients, and it's about making people happy. Like, no one rings in here that usually doesn't have some sort of a problem, and it's our job to sort that problem as quickly as possible. Yeah,
and I imagine some of those problems are pretty critical.
Well, it's, in the cybersecurity industry, there's lots of lovely terminology and descriptions and acronyms, and they talk about protecting critical infrastructure.
Yeah.
If you have a small family business that's helping you rear your kids and pay your mortgage and pay your bills, that's critical to you.
So it sounds like the business is going from strength to strength for you now, and more focused maybe locally. What does the future look like in the next few years, and what do you think the main challenges moving forward?
Business is going very well. Yes, we've relied very heavily on our own intuition and experience to select the tools that we deliver our services with, and that's paid off.
Okay.
We intend to double the size of the team over the next two and a bit years, and to more than double the turnover. Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, and we're working very hard on the processes, on the systems we use, and the people that we've got here to ensure that we get that all right. Because if we do that, then the growth will happen organically.
Yeah, and you got some clear financials around that, so it's just about executing now for you.
Yeah, well, we're in the process of executing. We're 6 months in, almost into the first half of a 3-year plan, and we're on target to deliver what we've decided to do.
Fantastic. So listen, some brilliant content in there, Sean. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing it with us, and hopefully somebody out there hears something that they need to hear and can move a bit faster for it. So really appreciate you taking the time out.
Yeah, and we appreciate the time, Scott. If you've taken to get in contact with us and to have a chat.